We often fear the shouting matches. We dread the slamming doors, the tearful confrontations, and the dramatic ultimatums that scream the end of a relationship. We convince ourselves that as long as the status quo remains, as long as the routine holds, we are safe. We treat the predictable rhythm of daily text messages like a heartbeat, a sign of life, proof that someone is still there, still anchored to us. But here is the bitter, unspoken truth. The most profound endings do not happen with a bang. They happen in the hollow space between a sent message and an ignored reply. The death of intimacy is rarely a sudden act of betrayal. It is a slow, quiet starvation caused by the death of effort. It begins when good morning stops being an invitation to share a day and becomes a digital chore, a mere administrative duty performed to keep the peace. You look at your phone, you see the same notification at the same time, and you feel a flicker of security. You are wrong. That consistency isn't a bridge, it's a barricade. It's the sound of someone ticking a box, ensuring that you remain just close enough to keep the situation comfortable, but just far enough away to keep their true self hidden. We have mastered the art of maintenance texting. We send memes we don't find funny. We ask, "How was your day?" Not because we care about the answer, but because it is the socially mandated script. We are performing the act of caring while the substance of it has already evaporated. Think about the last time you actually felt heard through a screen. Not acknowledged, not responded to, but truly felt. When the questions stop being repetitive, the relationship is already on life support. We have traded connection for convenience. We have turned our partners into background noise. The real danger isn't that they stop talking to you, it is that they keep talking using the same tired, predictable templates. It is a psychological defense mechanism. When you stop asking deep questions, when you stop being curious about their shifting moods or the subtle changes in their perspective, you aren't just being busy, you are protecting yourself from having to deal with the person they are becoming. You are opting for the static version of them because it requires less labor. The tragedy is that we mistake this silence, this absence of friction, for harmony. We congratulate ourselves on how easy things have become, failing to realize that easy is often just a synonym for irrelevant. The friction is where the growth happens. The messy, difficult, unscripted questions are the only things that keep a connection alive. When those vanish, you are simply two people living in parallel timelines, keeping the rhythm steady so no one has to admit that the music stopped playing a long time ago. We convince ourselves that we are busy, that work is draining, that life is too fast-paced for anything more than emojis and superficial check-ins. That is a lie. We make time for what we value. If the depth is gone, it is because we have chosen to let it drain away, drop by agonizing drop. The decay is seductive because it is so comfortable. You don't have to worry about an argument if you never discuss anything that matters. You don't have to face rejection if you never risk vulnerability. You just keep the machine running. You hit send on the morning text, you wait for the generic "I'm good you" response, and you call it a successful day. But look at the screen. Look at the history of the last month. Can you find a single sentence that wasn't predictable? Can you find a single moment where someone pushed you to think, to feel, or to change? Probably not. We have turned our intimate lives into a feedback loop of mediocrity. We are terrified of the silence that would follow if we stopped the performance. We fear that if we stopped sending the van mail, the scripted, hollow texts, the screen would go dark forever. And that is exactly what would happen. But keeping the screen lit with artificial light doesn't mean you aren't sitting in the dark. It just means you're afraid to admit you can't see anything. The cruelest part of this reality is that we are often the ones doing it to ourselves, all while blaming the other person for the coldness that we are actively cultivating through our own lack of curiosity. We demand passion, but settle for protocol. We want soul, but we settle for a notification. We are so busy maintaining the appearance of a connection that we have lost the ability to build one. The messages are frequent, yet the silence is deafening. We aren't communicating, we are just checking that the other person is still there, ready to be ignored tomorrow in the exact same way. The realization hits you in the middle of a mundane Tuesday. You are staring at a screen that glows with the same blue light it has cast for months. You realize that you aren't waiting for a message, you are waiting for an excuse. You want a reason to stop pretending. You want to stop the cycle of performative affection that feels more like an obligation than a joy. You see the truth. The decay was never a failure of time, it was a failure of courage. We chose the safety of the script over the danger of the truth. We built a cage out of predictable words and called it a home. And now, you are left with the crushing weight of knowing that the person on the other end is a stranger who knows your routine, but has no idea who you are anymore. You can keep hitting send, you can keep the rhythm, you can keep the screen glowing. But you are just ghosting each other while still holding the phone. The tragedy isn't that they left. The tragedy is that you are still here, waiting for someone to finally have the honesty to stop the charade. It is time to stop the autopilot. If you want to know if something is still alive, stop performing the autopsy of a dead habit. The silence you fear is not the end of the story. It is the first honest page in a long time. Stop waiting for a reply that isn't coming. Start mourning the ghost you're still texting.